How did people create this thousands of years ago when they had hardly any powerful tools, no measuring technologies, and usually not even paper to record their plans? The 10 most mysterious places that scientists still can't explain puzzle us. Either the builders of these sites were exceptionally talented, or they had previously unknown technologies and tools at their disposal. In some cases, it is even claimed the gods themselves were involved. 1. Created by the hands of the gods. Who would have thought that this temple complex still hides undiscovered secrets? Angkor Wat is an architectural masterpiece and the largest religious monument in the world. The breathtaking temple complex in the province of Siem Reap in Cambodia covers an impressive area of more than 162 hectares. The official builder was the legendary Khmer King Suvaraman II, who had Angkor Wat built in the 12th century in honor of the god Vishnu. The construction of the Angkor Wat between 1113 and 1150 AD is still a wonder of the world today. The construction time of just 37 years alone is astonishing, as the dimensions of the Angkor Wat are breathtaking. The outer rings of walls measures 1,024 meters by 802 meters, and the main towers rise majestically to a height of 65 meters. Within its walls, the complex houses numerous galleries, pavilions, libraries, and courtyards, all richly decorated with detailed reliefs depicting scenes from Hindu mythology, historical battles, and everyday life in the Khmer Empire. The work is precise and superior, and is said to have been directed by the gods themselves. It is possible that the temple city is far more than just a religious center, because what few people know is that Angkor Wat actually represents the universe. Did the Khmer know something that is hidden from us today? The central structure of the temple imitates the universe, and the 5 central towers stand for the surrounding Mount Meru. The whole area is said to represent a heavenly gate and possess mystical powers. 2. Buddha made electricity superfluous. Today, it takes months of planning to build a statue like this. Experts would measure the stone, carry out analysis, and select suitable tools. Then there would be plans, static calculations, and geo-measurements. Weeks, months, or even years would pass before a sculptor would probably use an electric jackhammer. It would probably take years more to build, despite all the machines we have today. And now imagine hundreds or even thousands of years ago, people with simple chisels and hammers, which often had a high bronze content and were therefore very soft, simply went to work here and created perfect statues. Most of the statues in the Longmen Grottos date back to the Northern Wei and Tang dynasties, 400 years ago and more. However, the thousands of caves and niches along a 1-kilometer stretch of the Yi River also contain much older works of art. Experts have counted more than 100,000 Buddhist statues, from tiny, barely visible figures to monumental statues several meters high. The largest and most impressive is the Vairocana Buddha, which is over 17 meters high. 3. The Fortress of the Cloud Warriors. The magical thing about the impossible places on this earth is that they can be found everywhere and in the craziest places. The ancient master builders not only achieved incredible things in terms of quantity and quality, but also built in climactic zones that would present us with impossible tasks today. High in the Andes, many of us can't even get enough air to take a short walk. Modern tourists trudge laboriously through sites such as Machu Picchu in the scarce oxygen of the Andes. And this World Heritage Site is by no means the only structure of its kind. The Culap Fortress was built by the pre-Columbian culture of the Chinapoas and is also known as the Machu Picchu of the North. This people, also known as the Cloud Warriors, built this incredible stone structure in the 6th and 11th centuries AD using simple tools at an altitude of 3,000 meters and covering an area of almost 65 hectares. The Tintero, a cylindrical building that was possibly used for religious or astronomical purposes, is particularly enigmatic in the complex. Its unusual shape and orientation testify to the high cultural and spiritual development of the people who once lived there. 4. Who were the Minoans really? The Minoans are the most mysterious people in Europe. They must have once been great kings, but they left no records. Only a few buildings and fortifications have survived from this culture. We know that they were the predecessors of the fantastic Greek civilization with all its mythology and fantastic legends. The kings of Minos are said to have maintained several flourishing cities before they mysteriously perished. The center of the culture was on Crete, and there are sites on Nosos. In its heyday, between around 2700 and 1450 BC, this place was the cultural and mystical center of the northern Mediterranean. The Palace of Nosos was such an architecturally advanced and complex structure that we can only marvel at it again. It is also a mystery, where people got the knowledge and technology for advanced water supply and sewage systems. Today, the city is considered the best testimony to the culture, as at least some frescoes depicting scenes of daily life and religious rituals have been preserved here. 5. 10,000 temples for pagan. Myanmar today is a country that is difficult to access and has a complicated history. But those who do find their way here will find one of the largest and most important archaeological sites in Southeast Asia in the Mandalay region. Between the 11th and 13th centuries, over 10,000 Buddhist temples, pagodas, and monasteries were built here over an area of around 104 square kilometers. This was at a time when the legendary Kingdom of Pagan was flourishing. Today, around 2,200 of these structures remain, creating a breathtaking landscape that is often experienced by vacationers by air. The architecture of Pagan is particularly enigmatic. It reflects the profound Buddhist devotion of the kings and people of Pagan and seems to have undergone an interesting evolution over the course of its construction. Among the most notable monuments are the Ananda Temple, with its gilded Shikara towers and exquisite murals. The Dhammayenji Temple, the largest temple in Bagan, is famous for its massive dimensions and impressive craftsmanship. 6. Incredible Cave Ensemble in India. Near the city of Aurangabad, in the Indian state of Maharashtra, is another architectural wonder. The UNESCO World Heritage Site of Ellora comprises 34 cave temples and monasteries, which were created using unique rock-cut structures. Between the 6th and 10th centuries AD, the buildings were carved out of basalt rock in the Shanandari Hill, probably over decades of painstaking work. The special religious harmony often leads local experts in particular to claim that the people were guided and inspired by the gods themselves to accomplish these miraculous feats. What were these people capable of that we no longer understand today? That they could simply go to work and build perfect structures without any plans or measurements. Was it really the guidance of the gods? 7. An ancient architectural experimental station. Cocuaro is another masterpiece of early Peruvian builders, often mentioned in the same breath as Machu Picchu. The impressive Inca ruins are hidden in the steep mountains in the province of Cusco. If you want to visit Cocuaro today, you will have to accept a challenging hike, but will be rewarded with one of the most breathtaking landscapes in Peru. The city, whose name means Cradle of God in Quechua, was probably built in the 15th century and served as a royal refuge as well as the center of worship for the complex world of the Inca gods. Although only about 30% of the site has been excavated so far, the uncovered structures, including temples, plazas, residential buildings, and architectural terraces, reveal the sophisticated engineering and architecture of the Incas. Particularly noteworthy are the terraced fields, where numerous indications of advanced Inca architectural techniques have been found. Cocuaro could have been something of an early biological experimental station and the agricultural religious center of the empire. 8. The oldest culture in South America. In the fertile Supi Valley on the central coast of Peru, we find an even older prehistoric city that is around 5,000 years old. This means that Caral dates back to the same period as the great civilizations of ancient Egypt, Mesopotamia, and the Indus Valley. The term oldest civilization in the Americas probably applies to this place in full. The first complex advanced civilizations developed here much earlier than always thought, which could indicate that they were far more advanced civilizations on Earth much earlier than previously assumed. The city covers an impressive area of more than 60 hectares and is home to a variety of architectural structures, ranging from monumental platforms and central squares to residential areas. Even an amphitheater and 6 central pyramids have been found here. These similarities to European and North African centers of early cultural flourishing again raise questions as to whether there may have been some sort of interconnectedness between these ancient cultures. One of the most notable features of Caral is the lack of any evidence of warfare. Unlike many other ancient civilizations, there are no traces of fortifications or weapons. This discovery supports the theory that Caral was a peaceful society in an absolutely isolated location. It is possible that the inhabitants were the only ones here at the time and had come to the continent from somewhere else, or that they were so far superior to all other inhabitants of South America that they had nothing to fear. 9. On the way to formlessness. Borobudur in Indonesia also looks like a kind of pyramid at first glance. The largest Buddhist monument in the world lies majestically in the Kidu Plain on the Indonesian island of Java. Here in the 9th century during the Salandra dynasty, it was intended to enable adepts to reach the highest enlightenment. The pilgrims and monks began on the lower levels and then slowly worked their way up through the complex system of paths. Borobudur is adorned with 2,672 relief panels and 504 Buddha statues. Each individual stupa with a Buddha inside urged the faithful to attain inner wisdom. Visitors had to stop at each one and receive a religious initiation in deep meditation. Once at the top, they had freed themselves from the worldly aberrations of Kamadhatu, the world of desire, and Rapadhatu, the world of forms, and reached Arapadhatu, the formless world. 10. The cruelest place in Mexico. As similar as the cultures and societies are, the differences can be just as stark. We know brutal rituals and sacrificial ceremonies from the Incas, while in Buddhism and Hinduism, the highest doctrines are not to harm anything or anyone. The Pyramid of the Sun in the ancient city of Teotihuacan, about 50 kilometers northeast of Mexico City, is probably one of the bloodiest places on Earth. The most impressive and important pre-Columbian monument in America was used by the Incas to offer thousands of human sacrifices to their bizarre sun god. The pyramid was probably built around the 2nd century AD. However, as the largest structure of its kind in the Western Hemisphere, the pyramid has often been suspected of being much older, at least in its basic features. There are theories that the monument, which is around 65 meters high and 225 meters wide on each side, was once part of a series of structures spread across the globe. This network, which also includes the Great Pyramids of Giza, is said to have been a kind of cosmic means of communication. Subscribe now and be part of every new video hit.